Welcome to the Raj Kotecha Show. Today's episode, here's the bullet points, here's what you need to know. So it's a Zoom recording, it's a Q&A that I've done with a young lady here in Dubai called Jo. She, like me, is an entrepreneur, she's a brand builder, but she's facing some crossroad decisions where she needed my help. Now, for years, I've helped entrepreneurs and I've done so much like free consulting and things like that. But what I've asked people recently is, can we record these Zoom calls so I can put them on a platform like this so that more people can hear the answers and hopefully they can extrapolate information and apply it to their own business. Now, if you enjoy this podcast, please do me a favor right now. Give us a 5-star rating on Spotify. You can do that now, and on Apple Podcast, and leave us a review on Apple Podcast as well. Helps the show get discovered. And YouTube crew, hit the subscribe button, notifications, comments, likes. That would all be appreciated. Okay, so without any further ado, a conversation with Jo here in Dubai. We talk mental health, brand building, finding my tribe. It's just packed full of useful information. Enjoy. Thank you for agreeing to have this conversation recorded, because it will allow me to scale it out to more people. So why don't you kind of like give us a bit of context on yourself and then fire away with all the questions you've got.
Okay, right. Well, my name is Josephine. I have been living in the UAE for the last 9 years. For the past 7 years, I've been running events mostly in Abu Dhabi, and it's just stuff that I would do on the side for my day job. And just recently, I've decided to make this like my actual job, my business, to make a community. That's my whole thing that I'm trying to do, trying to grow a community and help bring people together, either to each other or to things that they enjoy doing, or, you know, having new experiences through travel, through all this different stuff. And I've obviously attended a couple of my friends, your friends, and you obviously know what you're doing. So I'm like, let me get hold of this man. And by some miracle, I managed to get some time slotted in with you. And I just want to pick your brain and find out about, you know, how your journey's been and how you came to be where you are now.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
Okay, amazing. Cool. Right. Well, so we'll start at the beginning. How long have you been in the UAE, and how did you find your tribe here?
I've been in the UAE. I originally came on an annual basis in 2009, I believe, because my sister moved here, so I helped her move here. And even then, it was easy to see that the city had a whole ton of potential. Then I started coming here in 2000, I believe it was 14. I came here to host an event with Huda Beauty. I was moderating a panel with Huda Beauty on YouTube. A friend of mine invited me over to moderate. And again, that's probably where the emergence of a tribe started to come about, because I was at a marketing panel. And as soon as I got off stage, all these super brands, like mega luxury brands and global brands, started giving me their business cards saying, we love the way you moderated. Would you consider getting in touch with us so we can have a conversation? So I noticed that it was easy to galvanize people, much more so than it would be in London, because in London, that kind of meeting that many people in such a short period of time would not happen. It would probably take, several months of meeting people. So that's where the kind of spark kicked in. And I started living half between London, half between Dubai, from like 2014 till about 2017, moved here permanently. And it was in March of 2017 that I started My Friends, Your Friends. But prior to that, remember, prior to 2017, I'd say probably 50% of my year was in Dubai.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Oh, bless you.
Thank you. So yeah, and then how did I find the tribe? Well, I have different tribes here because I'm a DJ. So I've always had the music tribe, and I've always been doing like private events here as a DJ. When I started doing my own events, I originally had My Friends, Your Friends was a meetup called My Friends, Their Friends. And there was a chance for people to meet me when I was in London, because obviously I wasn't there all the time. And when I did go to London, my time would get diluted between my friends in music, my friends in the corporate world, my friends' friends, my family. I wasn't really getting that much time at home. So, and I love my mom's food, so I needed a lot more time for that. So then I came up with this idea to tell people, look, I don't know if you've ever been to London, but in King's Cross, that's where all the train lines basically cross. I booked a bar in King's Cross, and I think about 80 people came to that. So I was like, hang on a second, I'd made a note to self. I was like, if 80 people will come to hang out with me in Dubai, in London, over time, I was thinking, well, what if I wasn't the only host? What if there was co-hosts? So I came up with My Friends, Your Friends in 2017, and we had 15 co-hosts, and they all brought their friends. And the way that we went to market with that is that I'd spent a lot of time in the events industry in general. I was working with Social Media Week for some time, And then I've always done my own parties and gigs since the 90s. But when I spent a lot of time in the big corporate world of events, where you'd have ministers and royal people like, sheikhs and stuff coming to your events, I realized that people make a big deal of the speakers. But if you go to a 3-day event, as the days go on, less and less people are in the room watching the speakers.
Yeah.
And more people, when I was making content for these events companies, when I asked them, why do you like this event? They were like, it's the people you meet, it's the networking. So I flipped the script. And normally when you go to an event website, you see pictures of all the speakers and the companies they're from.
Yeah.
I flipped it and said, we don't have any speakers. We're just a bunch of people meeting in a bar having a drink. But here are some of the people that are going to be there. And I took the same energy that people put behind speakers, behind the co-hosts of the party. And I made them into the stars and them into the celebrities. And for me, it doesn't matter whether you're a sheikh or whether you rescue animals for a living or whether you wash dishes. If you're a good person, you've got a good background, you've got a good network, come along and enjoy the event. Bring your friends along. Everybody can come in for free. Everybody gets a free drink. And then, fast forward to now, we're 4,000 people. So that's the My Friends, Your Friends tribe, the music tribe, the corporate world. I've always navigated that space really well. So I met that tribe through my clients. But one way that I really accelerated this is that when I first came to Dubai, although in London I had the black Mercedes and bought the fly apartment and everything like that, when I came here, I actually spent 100 to 150 dirhams a day taking a taxi from Business Bay, where I was staying at my sister's place on a mattress on the floor, to go to Leo Burnett and work there, pay my own lunch, pay my own transport in a taxi back and forth, and then come home so I could see how the agency world worked here. And they said to me, look, we don't know the digital space too well. This was in, 2014, 2015. If you can help us with our digital pitches for Do and McDonald's and some of these big brands, Mercedes, we will then give you a desk. So I traded my consulting and me helping them win business for a desk where they had 100 megabyte download speeds, which in those days was hard to find in this city.
Okay.
So that's how I met my marketing tribe. And that's how I refined some of the tools and models. If you can see my mug here, we teach a program called the 4 Ps of content, which is plan, produce, publish, promote. So I already had that, but I refined it and made it more global, I guess, when I came here. So that's how I connected with my 3 tribes. Long answer, because there's more than one tribe, but yeah, that's how I did it.
So you kind of answered some of my other questions that I had for you, but you decided, I know you mentioned that you were doing something similar in London, but what inspired you to actually do this in Dubai? Is it, you're giving people a free drink, they get to come for free. Why are you bothering to do that?
Well, I get my energy from people, as you probably saw when you came to my event. Pre-COVID, it was just super normal to shake hands, hug, kiss, take pictures, selfies. I love people. I get my energy from people. I'm a shopkeeper's son. And so when I used to work in my dad's shop, a different customer would walk in every 20, 30 seconds. I was used to just kind of like servicing people and being nice to people on a 20, 30 second interval, 40 second interval. Yeah. So I really, from the beginning, have always got my high from people. My grandparents and my parents gave me too many hugs. And so my confidence is like through the roof at all times. My self-esteem is like on 110 at all times. And so I constantly like being able to do nice things for people. I like being able to serve people through my DJing. I like to be able to perform for people. I don't know if you've seen on my Instagram, but I just did a DJ set in Nairobi, and it was just incredible, just like tearing it down over there. So what inspired me was I was kind of scratching my own itch, but if we want to kind of go bigger picture, what inspired me was the fact that I'm very conscious of my blessings. So I have lots of friends, like 6,000, 7,000 friends, people from, early stage investors in Snapchat and Facebook and Instagram, right through to the security guy downstairs in my lobby. Like I consider everybody somebody who I would do something for. And because I've been blessed with so many friends, I also recognize that some people don't have a lot of friends. And so I created a platform, which is literally called My Friends, Your Friends. I start off by inviting my 15 friends. They invite their friends and they invite their friends. And if you've been to my event, and by all means, give me your interpretation, but my interpretation, albeit I'm the creator of the event, is it feels like a house party. It's like talk to whoever you want. The agenda is not dating. The agenda is not business. it's like, yo, we're in my kitchen. And I'm like, yo, Joe, you should meet Alex because you're into this and you're, you know, Alex is into that. You told me just now that you're thinking about going to Bali. Alex just came back. Maybe he can tell you the favorite like satay restaurants or the favorite best place to get a Manhattan. You know what I mean? So, so I'm big into that. And I think karmically speaking, my friends, your friends is a chance for me to scale my blessing and give it to people that were not born with it. And I think if the pandemic and COVID and lockdowns taught us anything, is what the real price of loneliness is. Like even I wasn't aware what impact loneliness can have on your mental health. Like it can take people all the way to suicide or just giving up. And so I also understand that on the other end of that spectrum, having a lot of friends, having a lot of contacts, people that you can call on is incredible and makes you feel invincible. Like I never, ever worry about who I'm going to go for dinner with next, who I'm going to hang out with next, where my next business deal is coming from. I just went for a breakfast. Well, I went for a breakfast coffee this morning with a dear friend of mine. And we were talking about a business that we're launching in the next couple of months. And she was like, it's a great idea. As soon as it's live, let me know. I'll connect you to. And then she just reeled off 4 or 5 FTSE 100 companies that would be interested in buying it. So there's a huge advantage. There's an emotional advantage. There's a social advantage. There's a financial advantage to friendship. And so I'm in the business of friendship because I have to give that back to people because I was given so much of it.
Oh, that's really nice. So it's interesting you said, you know, what my experience is. You actually connected me. I think Salman wasn't sitting on my table, but it was getting towards, you know, people had finished their meal and stuff. This is the event you held back in August last year. And you were like, oh, you go here and you go here, and you were connecting everyone. And I really did notice that's something that you do very naturally, saying, oh, so we got introduced and we've been friends since then.
Yeah.
But something I've been told is that in order to have a successful community, you have to have people who've got common goals or interests. And I want to know, do you agree with that? Like you're doing this, my friends, your friends, but you've not got like, you know, we're not all hikers, we're not all belly dancers, or, you know, we don't all have the same thing in mind. So do you agree that we need to have some common interests to be able to be friends?
So there's obviously going to be a pros and cons argument to everything, every decision you make as an events creator or as an entrepreneur. But there's always a third force in the room, which is the market and what people want. So one of the people who I consider like an older sister and a mentor at times, she was very, very high up, extremely high up in Nike in London. And when I told her about my friends, your friends, this was before the first one. It might have been before the big one in Dubai. And I said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. And I want people from all different backgrounds. And she said, well, why would people from all different backgrounds come? Like, I would be interested if you had people from the world of sports or the world of, you know, whatever. People come together over common interest. But my instinct told me that's not the case because my real life is a diverse group of people. So I've got, well, I mean, I don't think there's a part of the world or there's a part of society where I've not befriended people from just the hoodest of hood people right through to like the people that have never experienced that life and have grown up with a complete silver spoon in their mouth. And I know what the value is if you bring people together in a meaningful, neutral way and you spark those connections and those commonalities. So I don't agree with the fact that everybody has to have stuff in common. But what I would say is that for me, the fact that everybody doesn't have to have something in common is the thing that they have to have in common. So let me explain. If you believe that all people, regardless of background, have an opportunity to make friends, then you should come. That's the if-then rule. If you believe that everybody has something in common and can hang out with each other, then you should come to my friends, your friends. However, if you don't, then this is not the right event for you. So if 15 dog walkers don't believe that they can randomly make friends in a bar over a drink, regardless of the fact that they all do the same thing and have that in common, my friends, your friends isn't the right event for them. Because my friends, your friends is about talking to people, having meaningful conversations, you know, just catching a vibe. And some people as well, ironically, they don't want to be in the same room with people like them. 15 dog walkers might all say, you know what, I'm sick of being around dog walkers. The last thing I want to do at night is be around people from my industry. Other people might say, hey, listen, I love dog walking so much. I don't want to be around regular people. I only want to hang around with dog walkers day and night. The same way that when you look at like roadies and people that work on, in concerts and stuff and do all the wiring and cabling. They roll out these big concerts, the technicians, and at night they go and have drinks with themselves and they talk about the concert.
Work.
They just write up the screens and the cables and the malfunctions, So, but the good thing about the 7 billion odd plus people that we have the opportunity to connect with in the world is there's plenty of people in both camps. I mean, we've grown My Friends, Your Friends from when we started in 2017 up until COVID, from, 12, 15 people meeting in a bar to 4,000 people. So those people are there. And in a big city like Dubai or any other city, Singapore, New York, London, Los Angeles, you're going to find these people. And so that's the commonality.
So how have you managed to make My Friends, Your Friends evolve and also stay relevant? So for me as an attendee, I went to the Treehouse event you had.
Yeah.
I think it was back in 2018, so 18, 19. And then just recently I went to your event that was like a dinner. It was really, really awesome. And I'm vegan. It was a vegan meal. So I was just like, yes, cancelled my other plans. And I'm like, what else? There's vegan food happening. I'm going to be there. But how do you stay relevant, especially in a city like Dubai, where it's so like transient, which I'm going to get onto in a second. But yeah.
So the thing about My Friends, Your Friends is relevance is something that you need to do if there is a fundamental need to update. So My Friends, Your Friends is probably holds such a special place for me because it operates on the concept of a flywheel, which means it spins itself. When it goes from, if you imagine a wheel going round, when one part of the wheel goes from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock, it then naturally goes from 6 o'clock back to 12 o'clock. So let me explain to the chemistry there. Number one, there's always 15 new co-hosts. So there's always a good element of new. Those 15 co-hosts will also bring their own friends. Again, an element of new. But we always invite people, or we have done, and we're thinking about this now, but we always invite people from previous events to new events. So there's an element of familiar. So My Friends, Your Friends is incredible because obviously people give me feedback. And what's incredible about the feedback is everybody who comes to My Friends, Your Friends over and over again, who wants to meet new people, only seems to meet new people. Okay. Everybody who comes to My Friends, Your Friends to hang out with their homies and their friends that they've made at previous events only seems to find them and hang out with them. Yeah. So
they're drawing really, like a magnet.
Yeah, it's like a looking glass. Like you see what you want to see. If you walk into a room and you're like, I've come to My Friends, Your Friends to hang out with my crew that I always hang out with here, they're there. If you're walking into My Friends, Your Friends and you're like, I'm coming here to meet new people, you'll meet new people. The event itself molds and shapes around your intent when you walk in. Okay. And that's what makes it so magical.
I think you've kind of answered this one. A lot of people say to me, Dubai especially is really transient. And for me, I want to build a community and want to have that, people coming back, because I believe that we do need return people for there to be a community. You kind of answered a little bit, but I don't know if there's anything extra you want to add. How do you deal with the transiency of Dubai? That people seem to think that everyone's just like on a, 1 or 2 year cycle here, but I don't agree, because I've been here for 9 years and I'm not the only one who came here with a 1 or 2 year plan and has ended up being here longer than that. So how do you get people to keep coming back when it's such a transient place and apparently people don't really stay here that long?
Well, it sounds to me like even you don't believe that.
Yeah, I don't believe it. But then when I'm doing events, I find, because I was in Abu Dhabi before, I would get a lot more people returning to things there than here. Like you see someone at one event and you, like, for me so far, I will rarely see them again.
So there's a couple of questions here. There's a micro answer, there's a macro answer, and there's a product answer. Okay. So from a macro perspective, Dubai has been engineering the city so that people stay here longer. Everybody knows the story of transient Dubai. Come here for 2 years, make your money tax-free, leave, go back to your home country. And Dubai was just a moment in time. What's happened is Dubai's made the country more, the UAE has become a place where you want to hang out more and stay more. And as a result of that, people have started staying longer, and there's more villas and there's more families and there's more kids and there's more older people. And, society is evolving the way that any young society would evolve. Yeah. So that's from a macro perspective. So that's reducing the transient nature. And people coming here now knowing they're going to be here for 5 years, there's a lot more people coming here with a medium to long-term view than before, where there was a short to medium-term view. Secondly, from a micro perspective, when it comes to your particular event, well, how do you make sure that there's people coming back? And how do you make sure that there's some stickiness there? You've got to make sure you've always got a full pipeline of people. You've got to make sure that you're always growing the brand and getting it in front of more people so that more people are curious and go, that sounds like something I might be interested in. And as I mentioned, this third layer, which is the product layer, which is you've got to ask people when they came, what did you think? And would you return again? And what would it take for you to return again? Or reach out to somebody who's not returned and said, hey, I noticed you've not been to the last couple of events. Is there anything about the location, price, activity, people, product, name, brand, this, that, smell of the venue, indoor, outdoor, who knows? What is it that would require you to return? Because I'm trying to build retention.
Yeah.
And only you know what that is. You might want to talk a little bit about, I'd like to hear a little bit about what your events are and what you do, and maybe an example of what's been successful and what's not.
So a successful one in Dubai, we went to listen to live music at the Wald of Astoria, and also at McGettigan's. What else have we done? One that wasn't so successful was we did a treasure hunt at Global Village. And then things in the pipeline. Oh gosh, I have a whole.
Well, let me ask you a question. How consistent and predictable are your events? Or are they quite diverse? Like it's bowling, laser tag, cinema, music event?
Yeah, completely diverse. Yeah, there's not
If you have diversity in your offering, how can you expect consistency in your results?
Okay.
Unless, and this is to my point before, unless the community says, we want the diversity. See, if people come to one of your live music events and they say, we're happy to attend this live music event as part of a diverse and ever-changing offer, then that's a member of your community. Those two circles need to overlap. But if they say we're coming to this live music event because we believe there'll be nice people here and we like live music, if you switch it to, a pizza making class, we're less interested.
Okay.
So now let me talk, I'll just speak on that a little bit from my perspective. We have a ton of diversity in My Friends, Your Friends. Every single time we book a venue, it's a different venue. We've never repeated venues. Every single time we pick co-hosts, they're different co-hosts. We've never repeated co-hosts. The co-host community alone is 115 people.
Okay.
So there is an opportunity for diversity, but once you cross the line where that diversity starts to make your event unpredictable, then you have to say, okay, well, what elements of these, which of these elements am I prepared to change? So let me give you an example. When we did Taste Buds, which was My Friends, Your Friends, but over food, which you attended. So thank you for supporting that. We went from, 500 people, or, in some cases, 1,200 people signing up for our events to 70 people signing up for our events because we moved the goalposts. We said, you're not going to be walking around. You're not going to be getting a free drink. You're actually going to be sat down and you're going to be paying for your food, which is great if the people say, I'm prepared to sit down, pay for my food and meet people that way. But there's something which is very, very important to understand when it comes to product development, when it comes to events and in life in general, which is that if you make one small change, like what we would call an incremental change, you'll see an incremental change in your results. If you make 2 incremental changes, they have a multiplier effect on each other and you end up with an exponential change in your results. So if you make one small change, your output will be 1 different. If you make 2 small changes, your output might be 11 different.
Okay.
Because of the multiplier effect of these 2 small variables. And when they both impact not only the product, but each other as they enter the changing of the product, it causes a mutation. And then when there's a mutation with your event or there's a mutation with your product, then you can expect vastly different results.
Okay. Right. So maybe I'm making too many changes at once.
It's possible. Like, here's the thing. If I said to you right now, I could wave a magic wand and say, Joe, your product or your brand, it doesn't have lots of different events. It's not succeeded in, let's go to the cinema, let's go to the theater, let's go to a live music event, let's go play laser tag. but you dominate when it comes to left-handed bowling. And there's not a single left-handed bowler who doesn't know of you personally, your brand, your events. They're not, they're part of your database. They open your emails and they're excited to open your emails. If I said to you right now, which one would you rather have? And, let's say there's 18,000 left-handed bowlers in the city of Dubai. Would you rather own them, knowing who they are and what they want? Or would you want to keep kissing lots of different frogs and hoping that one turns into a prince?
Well, I have been kissing a few frogs. I see, for me, I love diversity, but I have to think with the business mind, and I need to give people what they want. So I'm going to go with the left-handed bowlers, please.
Simon. Or you have to work harder to find people that want the diversity. Yeah. And not only people that enjoy diversity, but don't want the free will of arranging their own diversity. So what that means is I might like diverse events. I might like going for a curry. I might like playing paddle. I might like jet skiing. These are all my truths, right? Mm-hmm. I might like coffee shops and like going on coffee hangouts with coffee lovers. But do I want to give custody of those decisions to Joe? Or do I want to feed my curiosity for finding those things out by myself? Because what you've also got to remember as well is we have this weird quirk, or humans have this weird quirk in our biology, in our bio, where we like to search and discover things. So if I'm committing to Joe for 4 events a year, I'm also committing the custody of these decisions to Joe. And I might want to figure out some of these things myself. So I bet you there are people in your community that like going to live music events and like going to laser tag and like going fishing and, but they just don't do it all through you because they don't see themselves in a world where they do it all through one person. So you've got to ask yourself, even if I want to build a product or I want to build an events brand that has lots and lots of diverse offerings, and even if I find the people that like diversity, period, do they want to give me custody of all that diversity on their behalf? Or is the fundamental nature of somebody who's diverse somebody who likes to go out and seek and discover things of their own accord? And if that's a yes on all those 3 fronts, you might want to start going more narrow. Now, by the way, narrow doesn't mean just left-handed bowling. It doesn't mean bowling, but it could be a Tuesday night club, or it could be a Tuesday night cardio club of people that on a Tuesday really love doing cardio because that breaks up their week. Okay. So within cardio, you've got rowing, CrossFit, running, You could just own that. So there is probably an opportunity for you to go more narrow than you are, but still as an entrepreneur yourself, have the breadth that you require to turn you on and get you out of bed every morning. Yeah. Okay. One thing I noticed, I was just going back through the history of the emails I've been receiving from you for events and stuff, and I realized that you were doing My Friends and Your Friends, and you also just mentioned it for free. Yeah. So how do you deal with trying to book venues, these like awesome venues, when there's this is what I found, so many people will just not turn up even though they've RSVP'd. How do you deal with it? You're not charging anything. You're telling the venue, there's going to be 300 people here. And then, like, have you ever had an instance where not as many people have turned up that you've said? And how do you deal with that? You know what the biggest thing is, the biggest game changer in my, over 20 years of doing events is data. So I guess data and evidence. So let's start with data. We ask people to register, and we can tell from the registration app who registered, when they registered, and if they showed up. We have never leveraged more information than that. So we know that, let's say, at a typical event, if 800 people sign up and there's a typical 60% dropout, that there'll be 320 people in the venue. And that's quite predictable under normal pre-COVID circumstances. So we became very used to a 60% dropout. Now add a swing on there, add a swing of 8%. So It could be as low as 52, which is mind-blowing and a great result. Or it could be as high as 68, which is unfortunate, but it doesn't damage how the event feels. The event doesn't feel so different if there's a 52% dropout rate or a 68% dropout rate. There's a swing and there's a difference, but it doesn't prevent the event from delivering on the promise of what the event is. So when we tell a venue, and this freaks out venues, by the way, because there's a lot of stupid people that work at venues, right? When I tell people we can put 300 people in here, but I'm just letting you know, we're going to have a guest list of 750, 780. They start freaking out. No, you can't sign up 780. You can't sign up 780. We'll have issues with that if you do that. And I'm like, okay, well, this partnership isn't going to be a good partnership because I know what I'm talking about. If you tell me sign up 320 people for a capacity venue that holds 320, and I'm telling you that 65% will drop out, then you have to be okay with staffing up your whole venue for full capacity, but only 1/3 of that number showed up. And now your event from your side as our events partner, as our venue partner, is not going to be profitable because you've got 3x the amount of people on salary and 1/3 the revenue. So you want to listen to me. And so that's from a data point of view. Now, from an evidence point of view, the smartest decision I ever made, and it was fueled by a dear friend of mine, Richard. Richard introduced me to a team that he was working with called First and 10. And First and 10, in the time that we've been working together, they've done some incredible things, not because of me, of their own accord, but they do the YouTube channel for Will Smith. So when you see all the crazy stuff that Will Smith's doing in Dubai, they're the team that's filming it. They've also done things like, they've shot videos of when the Pope came here, and they've worked with some of the biggest, most brilliant brands, automotive brands, tourist boards, and so on. They shot the video of the first My Friends, Your Friends, which is the video you see if you go to myfriendsyourfriends.com right now. That video is the video that I've showed to every single person I want to come as an attendee, every single person I want to host as a co-host, and every single venue I want to work with. And that video and the evidence of the proof of this concept that they made and the way that they told the story is, aside from me, Raj Kotecha, flesh and bone, aside from me as the driving force, that's the second biggest success factor in the growth of My Friends, Your Friends, is working with First and 10 and the video they shot. If you can get one flagship piece of evidence and then show that to everybody else, hey, this is Joe's left-handed bowling club, and you show how fun that is and how great that is for left-handed bowlers, they will look at that and go, yes, I'm interested, I'll be there. Or they'll say, no, I'm not. And then you're not obviously putting an event for people that don't want to be there. They don't realize that the fit is wrong when they arrive. When you look at a My Friends, Your Friends video that was made by First and 10, you fully get it because of the way they told the story. And you go, am I in or am I out? And if you're in, you're excited to be in. You're one of the people that shows up. And if you're not in, great. You're not walking in and being disappointed, making it a tough night for yourself and making it a tough night for the girl or guy that's organized it. These are the variables. And if these variables are not being addressed inside your business, they have to be priority number one. Because you can then have diversity in your products once you have built a community and you know how to service them through communication and things like that.
So in a place like the UAE or like Dubai, to what extent do you believe success, like having enough people turn up, is to do with hype, like Instagram and all this, or to do with people like genuinely believing in the product and the brand and the...
So they're not mutually exclusive. Okay. If you need to hype people up to get them to come to your event, and then they come to their event and they need no more hype, they're bought in, they allow themselves to be baptized at the church of whatever that event is, then that's great. But I believe that, see, the problem with hype is that there's no 6 out of 10 version of hype. Hype is hype. The issue you have as an events creator or as an events producer is, can you live up to that hype? And can you over deliver on that hype? So if you've seen me in any other interviews talking about My Friends, Your Friends, I go, look, started in 2017 with 15 people. They invited their friends. Those core 15 people, we don't care whether they're members of the royal family or whether they wash dishes. As long as they're a good person, they're welcome. Doesn't matter what their background is, how much money they earn, their ethnicity, we don't care. And when you come along, it's just a cool vibe. There's, you know, you're not going to get, it's not a dating event. It's not that. It's not a business networking event where you start flinging out business cards like there's some sort of like ninja stars, right? Like we are what we are. And in many ways we underhype it. And then when people come along, they go, wow, I came to this event and I got a meaningful connection from it. And there's no way that you can, in your marketing, tell people, and certainly no way that you can guarantee people that you will make a meaningful connection. So you've got to kind of undersell it and then let people believe and let people choose themselves. And how do you get enough people to choose themselves? You have to tell lots of people. And you have to tell the story in the right way.
When you're recruiting for staff to work with you, how do you find the right people and how do you incentivize them to believe in your vision? Because obviously you don't want to recruit someone who doesn't believe in your product or your vision or your brand. So how do you find the right people and how do you incentivize them?
So for those who don't know, my full-time gig is for the last 15 odd years. I've been the CEO of a company called the Creative Content Agency, where we make podcasts and videos for mostly business people, but some celebrities and things like that. So on the celebrity side, like Fat Man Scoop and Sugar Hill Gang and Daz Effects, and mostly like hip hop guys. And on the corporate side, it's been everything from real estate to law to investment. So I only really recruit for that, because on the event side, it's all volunteers. My Friends, Your Friends is not a money-making event. I sponsor it personally out of pocket. So if I'm sponsoring out of pocket, I'm not going to be paying people to come and work there, because the kind of people I want to work there are the people that would love to volunteer at an event like this for free, because they are naturally people and they want to meet people. They're people persons, I guess. So I never struggle with, if I say to people, like, people come up to me and say, yo, I love this event, how can I get involved? And I say, work the door. Only guaranteed, if you work the door at My Friends, Your Friends, you're going to meet more people than me, Raj, even though it's my event. Because on a typical night, I can probably meet 20 to 40% of the people that come. I want to have a conversation with people, shake hands. They might want to take a picture with me. So boom, there's only so much you can do of that. If I did that with everybody, the event would be 2 days long. So, but if you're at the door, you get to give everybody their drinks token. You get to say hello to them. You get to match the name to the face. You can have a little bit of a spark. And then after you're done with the door, you can go over and talk to them, and build up some sort of relationship that way. So that's on the My Friends, Your Friends side. Now on the agency side, just whilst we're touching on that as well, what's really brilliant about this question that you just asked is how My Friends, Your Friends has worked with my agency. When you do a My Friends, Your Friends, it's not dissimilar to when I was a big DJ in London. At the end of my parties, people would come up to me and be like, yo, man, wicked set. Like, are you a DJ full time? What else do you do? They voluntarily ask you because they're so full. They're so full of happiness and they're so satisfied with the thing that they came for, whether it's a music event or My Friends, Your Friends, that they want to talk to you and see what else you do. They're like, surely you don't do this full time. And it's at that point that I say to them, look, I've got this agency. So that's where I've got my clients from. But not only that, I mean, that was one of the places I get my clients from, but that's also, I would say that 1, 2, 3, I've probably hired 3 to 4 staff just off people that I've met at My Friends, Your Friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just because they had a little bit of hustle and I saw that the way they were at the event, and, we got talking. I said, like, what are you doing? Who are you working for? Some of them are working for nobody. Some of them are working for somebody. And over a period of time, they join our agency and they're salaried employees.
Okay.
And then what I'm looking for is those interpersonal skills, because if you see somebody in a large format event and they're able to connect with people in a meaningful way and have, great conversations and make eye contact and feel the person they're talking to, you've probably got the good base DNA set for making great content, which is what my agency is known for.
Okay. That's so cool. Raj, thank you so much for your time. I don't want to delay you from your next meeting.
Yeah, thank you so much. And apologies for the delay, and thank you for being,
it's okay.
Thank you for being so kind and generous and allowing us to record this, because again, I think this is how we're probably going to do things. I know Alex, my producer, is on the line as well right now, but what we're going to do is, anybody who wants to have a conversation like this and wants help with any of their businesses or any of their brands, because we have a bunch of them. And I'm, like I mentioned to you on text, right? I'm an open book. I want to see, the stuff I've told you today, I've said in private before to people. I've never said it in public. And I'm literally giving you the blueprint of how I made this whole thing super successful. And I want other people to replicate what I do and actually advance on it, so they can come back to me in 2 or 3 years' time and be like, look, I took 80% of what you did with My Friends, Your Friends. I added my own 20% on top. Those two things mutated. I came up with something which is 150% better, but in a different vertical or, whatever. And now I'm going to teach you back as the founder of My Friends, Your Friends, how I took a little bit of what you did and I made it into something else. So anybody else that's listening to the podcast or watching the podcast wants one of these open office, like open door sessions, just reach out to me, Raj at creativecontentagency.com, and let us know a little bit what you're doing, what kind of help you need. And I'll jump on one of these Zooms, maybe half an hour every month or something like that. I'll take a call and I'll help you out. Joe, thanks so much. I got to jump on to the next meeting.
Thank you.
And
bye.
Enjoy the rest of your 2022. And I'm sure we'll bump into each other again soon.
Yes, I'll see you at My Friends, Your Friends soon.
Or hopefully over vegan food. That would be dope.
Yes, let me know when the next one's happening.
All right, then I'll talk to you soon.
Cool. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that episode with Joe. Now, if you'd like to be on one of these in the future, just drop me an email, raj at creativecontentagency.com, or send me a 1-minute voice note on DM on Instagram at Raj Kotecha. I'll have a listen to what you've got to say, and if there's a way that I can help you, maybe we can set up a similar Zoom call and share it on the Raj Kotecha Show. I really hope you enjoyed it, and once again, Spotify, Apple, 5-star rating and reviews would be incredible. YouTube crew, hit the subscribe button. It'd be amazing. It helps us get discovered. Likes, comments, all that good stuff is appreciated. Peace.